is a shir on Tefila. We say every day Keriat Shema. Keriat Shema, we say there are three parashiot. One parasha we talk about Yichud of Hashem and love of Hashem and the mitzvot is in Parashat Beit Chanan, and the second parasha Vayim Shamua in Parashat Ek. That also about yoke of mitzvot, keeping the mitzvot. And the third parasha is Vayomer, that Vayomer we say for Yachad Mitzrayim. Remember Yachad Mitzrayim every day. We chose this parasha because this parasha has a lot of elements inside, but basically we say it for Yachad Mitzrayim. Now in the first parasha that we say, Shema and Vayim Shamua, a lot of things being repeated. Rashi asks, how come we have two parashot is being repeated? Rashi said the first parasha is about singular, the second parasha is plural. If you notice, the first parasha, everything is singular form, is one. Shema Israel, Hashem Havta, you should love. I commanded you on your heart. You teach them. All talking about singular. The second parasha, Vayim Shamat Shmeu, is plural form. Plural form means that say Shamat Shmeu, and all of the mitzvot was said in the plural form. Shamru lachem, samtem devrayele, shinantam levanecha. All was said in the form of plural form. Now, the version say what's pshat? Pshat is that the first parasha is the Yechidei Segula. This parasha doesn't talk about Parnasa, doesn't talk about what the wrath of Hashem, Galut, nothing. Just Torah mitzvot, stems from the Torah mitzvot. The second parasha is Vayim Shamuat Shmeu. It says if there's a cross, if you listen to mitzvot. And the first parasha says Ahavat Hashem. It doesn't say Bechol Modecha, with all of your money and wealth, above Parnasa. Second parasha, it says Ahavat Hashem doesn't say Bechol Moedechem, with all of your money, because money is a struggle. It's the second segment. If you notice, in Beit HaMikdash we had two cherubim, all come from the Or. In Beit HaMikdash we had four cherubim. Two were on the Aron, and two were standing foot on the floor, and the wings over the Aron and over the Kodesh HaKodashim. Now, the Pesachim explains that these two cherubim in the Mishkan signifies the Hal Israel in Midbar, that they were just learning Torah. They didn't have to do anything for Parnasa, because that man would give them Parnasa, and basically they were learning, and everything stems from the Aron. And there is no talk about Parnasa, there's no talk about the Galut, nothing. Just Avodat Hashem, just loving Yaakov Baruch Hu with all of your money, with all of your wealth. And money and Parnasa is not struggle. They see clearly they have to be over Hashem. Even if they do things for Parnasa, but they know as a fact that Parnasa comes from Hashem, they're Omed Ministerium. But second parasha is talking about those people, they struggle. Now Torah says, Im Shamuat Shmeu. If you listen to me, then I give you a Parnasa and everything would go well. And then I would give rain to you. And then, but if you don't listen, be careful. In other words, all of the consequences of the second parasha. There were these two parashot. Now, this is very interesting that the mitzvah mezuzah in the first parasha was said singular. The second parasha also was said singular. Uchtabtam al mezuzah b'techa. Write them on mezuzah b'techa v'sharecha. All of the other mitzvot changed, but mitzvah mezuzah stays the same. Uchtabtam al mezuzah b'techa v'sharecha. The same thing. You should write them on doorpost of your house and your gate. It doesn't say as a plural, you should write. It says singular. You should write. Not you as a plural form. Now the Persian say, how come mezuzah didn't change? And it's very interesting that mezuzah refers to uchtabtam, writing. Nobody writes mezuzah. They have Sefer Torah. We have to write, but you don't write Sefer Torah. You give the sofer to write it. Sefirim, you get the sofer to write it. Torah says, "Ukshartem," should have tied them up. Here also for mezuzah, Torah should have said, "Fix them." Ukvatem mezuzah b'techa v'sharecha. Just say, right? Who writes the mezuzah? Nobody writes the mezuzah. The lashon is lashon of right, and you know that the 10 Commandments are hinted in the Shema. Now, the Persian said, "Taftam al mezabetecha" is hinted lo tachmod. Should not be jealous for other people. Now, why mezuzah? What does mezuzah has to do with jealousy? Lo tachmod. Now, it's interesting. What's the mitzvah of mezuzah? Now, every store has a sign. The sign of the store says what type of function is happening in the store. Let's say that every store has a sign, electrical store. That means to say it's the appliances of the electrical appliances in this store. And if you want to buy vegetable, you cannot buy there. They don't sell vegetable there. Therefore, the sign shows what's the function in the store. Now, Torah is telling us the sign of a Jewish home is mezuzah. What's written in mezuzah? Shema v'hayam shamoah. These two parashiyot. This parashiyot is acceptance, all of Malchut Shamayim, acceptance of the mitzvot, understanding of Hashem, not to forget about the Baruch Hu. You watch yourself, not to do avera. And that's a sign that you put on the doorpost. That's a function of the home. Now, Sofer really write the mezuzah, but sometimes the Sofer writes it, but it's false. It's not function of the home. Now, really, who gives kedusha to the writing of the mezuzah? Those who live in that home. Those who live in that home, that they live up to Keriat Shema, up to Yoka Malchut Shamayim, up to Yoka Mitzvot. If he's about to get angry, he would stop, pause, not to get angry, because he remembers Hashem. Once he say Lashon Hara, he would stop, not to say Lashon Hara. You know, the most educational place at home is Shabbat table. Shabbat table, parents would talk about the passion that they have about life. And children sitting nicely in serenity and very serene, they listen to whatever that the parents have to say. The highest educational form is Shabbat table, the way that parents naturally they express themselves. In other words, it doesn't have to be a real expression, but a facial expression about something. Now somebody talks about their home and a friend, and the parents, they talk with elaboration, with passion. Somebody makes a trip in Europe, they talk about passion. And somebody gave a sim of Shas. Okay, one of friends gave sim of Shas. The child reads what's important, what's not important. Going to Europe is important. Having this type of things, fancy home and luxury home is important. But finishing Shas, okay, somebody finishes Shas, or that's a Sion, or somebody did some kindness in the community. Okay, good, they celebrated. The passion is not there. Therefore, expression with the passion makes it. Therefore, the home is the place that is a sign for it. Sign is Keriat Shema and v'hayam shamoah. Now, really, who writes the mezuzah? Those who live in the house. They give kedusha to the writing. The sofer could write it, but could be false, could be not the truth. The truth is the people that they live at home, they understand the Malchut of Hashem, they understand the mitzvot, they understand not to forget about the Baruch Hu in what they want to say, the way that they express themselves. Therefore, there is the expression, it says, feel at home. Now, Mefarshim say the inner part of a person would come out at home because you feel at home at home. Therefore, a person has to understand that feel at home. Of course, a person has to feel serene and good, but the things that comes out, the person has to be careful. You know, you're taking out, you feel at home. You know, the person doesn't behave the same way that he behaves in the shul at home. At home is much different. Why? That Kodesh Baruch Hu is there, the same Hashem is there also. There's a mitzvah mezuzah. They will remind us to act properly, to act the way that we should. At all times, that's how people feel home is for the money. In other words, we talk to children in the way that we talk, open mouth, the wording that we use. In other words, my children, my home, I feel at home. In that sense, feeling at home is not a Jewish thing. You feel at home, of course. I believe in that the home should be serene, should be comfortable, everybody should feel good, but not to lose the respect, not to lose the cover, not to lose the honor, not to lose using the right word, right way of talking, communicating, and saying things. Therefore, Torah says, you should write the mezuzah. A person who lives at home with the behavior, with the act that he has, with the way that he deals at home, he gives kedusha to the writing of mezuzah. The Torah says to start them the right way of mezuzah, and that's no. Therefore, we understand the question: why is it said in Russian of Ketiva? No, why is it singular? Because Torah is telling us everybody has to keep 613 mitzvot, all of the homes, everybody. But a leader that makes all of the home uniform and all of the home has to be the same way. No, second parasha is parasha of tzibur. Parasha of tzibur, parasha of congregation, all people together. But this parasha says, even though that we are dealing with the tzibur and we are dealing with congregation, but the home has to be individual. Every home is different. Something that's good for this home is not good for this home. Something that's not good is good for the other person. We have to keep all of the mitzvot. There's no exception. But the approach, the way that we talk, the way that we educate, what we say, what we focus, what are the things to be said, and how to educate them, it depends on the home. Therefore, Torah is telling us, even in the parasha of Tzibur that talks about everything has to be congregation all together, but the mitzvah mezuzah stays the same. That the home has to be individual home. We cannot make uniform. It's a criminal. Somebody who makes all of the homes has to be the same way. That doesn't work like that. Every home has its own needs, how to approach them, how to talk to them. Therefore, that's why the mitzvah mezuzah stays as a singular. Now, what does have to be the tachmod? Mefarshim say all of the tachmod also comes out from the home. How does it come out from home? Somebody feels happy at home. He feels serene, feels content. Then you don't have jealousy to other people. Jealousy doesn't start with other people, it starts with the person himself. Once you are content with yourself, content with your wife, content with your home, with your children, once you have understanding the blessing of Allah, all our blessing of Hashem, to be grateful, to be thankful, to be content, then somebody who's full and he ate food, whatever that they put in front of him, he doesn't want anymore because it's food. But somebody's hungry. It's not content with himself. It's not content with his own situation. Then, the also says, you write your mezuzah, you write your home, your connection with Allah. Home of a Jew is a betamich. That's the way that you deal with Hashem. That's your home. Allah gave it to you. It's a blessing. A lot of people don't have this. There are a lot of things that you have at home. A lot of people, they would love to have it. They pay millions of dollars to have it, and they can't. They don't. Therefore, count your blessings and be happy and write your mezuzah. Write your mezuzah means count your blessings, understand them, and through that, you don't be over tachmod, to be jealous. Jealous is somebody who is not happy with himself. He measures himself with other people. Let's imagine jasmine flower is a very nice flower and it's a very good smell. Now one morning he gets up and he wants to smell like a rose. That's a recipe for disaster. That makes disaster out of himself, out of his family, out of his children. No, you can't smell like a rose, whatever that you do. But you yourself, so nice, so beautiful. You have such a beautiful smell. Everything would be forgotten. Everything would not be noticed. Because person jealousy means you measure yourself with the stick of other people, with other measurement. Therefore, you don't find what you have, the qualities, the bracha and blessings. Therefore, the person will be disappointed. So basically, we said there are two parashot and Shema, and the mitzvah of the first parasha is singular. It's talking about those unique people that everything comes to Torah mitzvah. There's no talking about parnasa, talking about galut, exile, nothing. And the second parasha talks about im, starts around im. If you listen to mitzvah, the parnasa is a challenge. And then mitzvah mezuzah then change because mezuzah is a home, so the same. And mezuzah signifies the tachmod, because somebody who enjoys home and establish a good home and count his own blessings at home, he would not be jealous about the people at Rabbah. He would be happy with whatever that he has, and that's the greatest bracha in life to have.